how wine is made. In this lesson, we're going to learn about the process of winemaking, how the ripe, juicy grapes get from the vine through the wine cellar and into the bottle. We'll do this by focusing on fermentation, making white wine, making red wine, and maturation. Let's start with fermentation. Fermentation is at the very heart of the winemaking process. It is the chemical reaction that turns grape juice into wine. Alcoholic fermentation requires two things: a sugary liquid and yeast. The sugary liquid is the grape juice. Can you remember where the grape juice comes from? If you said the flesh, you'd be correct. Well done. Yeasts are tiny one-celled organisms that we can't see, but they are all around us. Yeasts occur throughout nature, on fruit skins, in soils, and on insects. When these tiny organisms come into contact with the sugary grape juice, they start to consume the sugar. As the hungry little yeasts eat the sugar in the grape juice, a chemical reaction takes place, creating alcohol and carbon dioxide. It turns the sweet grape juice into wine. Now let's look at the process involved in making white wine. At the beginning of summer, the grapes on the vines ripen. The riper the grapes become, the more sugar they contain. When the winemaker tastes the grapes and decides they are perfectly ripe, the grapes are picked and taken to the wine cellar. When the ripe white grapes arrive at the cellar, they are taken off their stalks and crushed. Crushing means the grapes are lightly squashed to get some of the juice out of the fruit, so fermentation can start as soon as possible. Specialized machines are used to crush the grapes without breaking the pips, which, remember, contain bitter tannins that would spoil the taste of the wine if they were crushed. These crushed and destemmed grapes are then fed into a press. A press is a machine used to squash the grapes so that all the juice flows out, but the skin and pips are left behind. All this juice is poured into a container. These can be big stainless steel tanks or wooden barrels. Steel tanks are neutral containers that keep all of the fresh, fruity flavors of the grape in the wine. Wooden barrels give the wine a rich, toasty flavor. Now all the juice is in a tank or barrel. The winemaker may let the yeasts that occur naturally on grapes start the fermentation, but most winemakers choose to add specially prepared yeasts to their grape juice. Yeasts don't like lots of alcohol, so fermentation stops when either the alcohol level in the wine gets too high or there is no more available sugar left for the yeasts to consume. When this happens, the yeasts die. At this point, you have wine. But all of those dead yeast cells must go somewhere. They sink to the bottom of the barrel and tank, forming a deposit that looks a bit like porridge. This is called the lees. Before the white wine can be bottled, it needs to be moved off the lees. When the fermentation is finished, the wine is left to stand for a while so that all the yeast sinks to the bottom of the tank or barrel. The wine is then sucked out from the top of the tanks or barrel into another tank, leaving the lees behind. Now you have a finished white wine ready for bottling. Now let's look at making red wine. The process of making red wine is similar to making white wine, but there are some big differences that set these wines apart. The ripe grapes are picked and taken to the cellar where they are crushed and destemmed, just like white wine. Because all the color in red wine comes from the red grape skins, Instead of pressing the grapes right away, like white wine, the crushed grapes are placed into a fermentation vessel, skins and all. While the wine is fermenting, the skins are kept in contact with the juice, either by punching the skins down into the wine or by pumping the juice over the skins. This is so the right amount of color, flavor, and tannins leach into the juice from the skins. The time the skins spend in contact with the juice is called maceration. When the winemaker is happy that the juice is the right color, the wine in the tank is run off into wooden barrels or stainless steel tanks. The leftover skins are then pressed to extract the remaining wine. Like with white wine, some lees may occur in the tanks or barrels. Once the wine is taken off the lees, it is ready to be bottled. Finally, let's take a look at maturation. Another way that flavor is added to wine is the process of maturing finished wine inside wooden barrels. These barrels come in different sizes, but are normally made of either French or American oak. Red or white wines that are aged in barrels can be left for 1 to 3 years at a time before being taken out and bottled. Aging wine in oak barrels is like adding salt and pepper to your food. The fruity flavors of the grapes are seasoned with spicy, toasty, and vanilla flavors from the oak. In this lesson, we learnt about fermentation, making white wine, making red wine, and maturation. Enjoy the rest of your wine course.